Hello folks, and welcome to Plot Point's Crazy Theories, as people call them. They're not exactly proven, but they're not exactly crazy. They're well-educated guesses. Ish, kind of. So, today's episode is the cutie pox. Huzzah! Disease episode. So, anyways. First off, we start with bowling. I'm not sure exactly what significance bowling has to do, but it does show a fairly advanced society. I mean, you have to be so far along, at least, to shape a bowling ball. And even more so to build the resetting pin sets that they obviously would need. So anyways, it's again showing the level of pony technology. They're at least at moderate industrial age. I'd say there's maybe 5, 10 gigantic gasoline diesel engines somewhere along the line. Anyways, not really what I want to focus on. So there's Zecora's potions, which we go into more this episode. It seems that the only thing Zecora does is sit out in the woods, go gather flowers, and stir them. Really kind of boring. But they do have some amazing properties. They make that tooth grow back, which borders on the edge of magic because it obviously grows it too big, which I would have rather she had grown it way too big and filled up her mouth and then Zecora just shaved it down. Would have been a fun scene. Or snipped it off with like tooth cutters. Something along those lines. Anyways, Zecora has like 1,000,001 potions, and it ends up seeming like what you have after a night of collecting random ingredients in any of the Elder Scroll games. I just found this mortar and pestle, and I've, got a whole bunch of places to go. Walk, 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 pick, pick, pick. Walk, 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 pick, pick, pick. Oh no, I'm overloaded. Time to make 1,000,000,000 potions. And you end up with a potion that you know you will never use. Like resist frost when you already have a 100% resist frost from that item you gained like several levels ago. In any way, she's got a bunch of potions, 102 of which she will never ever have to use. It's entirely possible that she has a bunch of, random happenstances which cause her to have all these potions. I know, she'd bruise one when something happens to her, and then she fixes it with it. In which case, she's had a lot of bad luck. A lot. Anyways, so in the end of the whole thing, she could have just brewed 1,000,002 health potions, because that's all you really need. Unless mana isn't regenerating, in which case, brew some of that. But it seems to be in the My Little Pony universe. It's more of an I've overextended, so now I must rest sort of mana, instead of I've overextended, and therefore it will draw directly from my life force, thus ending me. Or, oh no, I've run out. Cannot cast spell. Variety of different ways you can use mana and magic. So, there's a bunch of various plants, various effects. Once again, the greatest example here would be if you played fairly through an Elder Scrolls game. If you haven't, then by law I'm required to suggest it. They're pretty good. They may not be your genre though, but they're pretty fun all around. Yay, endorsement. Anyways, back to topic. Or somewhere near topic, anyways.
Ooh, draw friend.
Anyways. I say anyways a lot. because if I don't, I'll get really off topic, and then these things will go on ridiculously long, because I'll start talking about random things about, like, how badgers ate my legs, and then proceeded to hit squirrels over the head, as the beaver emperor slowly looked upon his kingdom and lit it on fire. As you can see, my mind is not exactly the most sensical place. It's a fun place to be, though. Now, the real thing we get to see in this episode, which is really interesting, is the cutie pox themselves. I really like the idea of a disease which just makes you awesome. It's like the exact opposite. It's like steroids. Pony steroids. They have side effects, sure, but so do a lot of great things. Antidepressants, the drugs for your knee, the drugs for your back, the drugs for all your aches and pains, the drugs for the things that don't ache and pain, the drugs because you're old, the drugs because you're young, the drugs because you're infertile, the drugs because you're too fertile, the drugs because your feet hurt, the drugs because your feet don't hurt, the drugs because you're too sweaty, the drugs because you're too not sweaty. So many wonderful drugs, and there are thousands of side effects, which apparently just happen all the time. Because we need this drug to solve 3 problems all at once, at the sacrifice of, instead of 3 main problem-y side effects, which you can easily see, we'll have 12 sort of noticeable side effects, which you'll have to track over the next 5 to 10 weeks. The real thing that bothers me about the cutie pox is, even though they directly mention it used to be a disease, it doesn't really spread that well. Now, I wouldn't be too objectiony to this if they had done just one thing. All they had to do was infect one other pony. One. All they had to do. And that would have just confirmed in our minds that, oh, it's a disease. And then we could have all ran about with our hair on fire, having fun as we played in our minds the scenarios that would happen as each and every one of the ponies slowly caught this disease. Huzzah! Anyways, so this is the one piece of criticism I could take out of the entire episode. As always, I do just love the episodes. But this is the one just nagging bit in the back of my head that always comes up whenever I look at this episode. And meanwhile, all the ponies get hazmat suits, which apparently help, because nobody caught this in the day 2 since she A, caught the disease, and B, did pretty much everything. I mean, she cut pie with a hoop that'd been on every inch of her body. If that doesn't spread diseases, nothing will short of blood transfusion. Which leads you to wonder how the hell every pony started catching it back in the Paleo Pony era. Which is a weird name for it, because the Paleo Pony era would assume dinosaurs? I mean, they do have dragons, but does that mean that's the bunch of, Neanderthal ponies? And then how do they have the record of bunches of ponies doing this? Now, I suppose we could go with the whole excuse that a bunch of ponies decided to eat, the special Heart's Desire flower all at the same time in some sort of cruel death pact. But it just doesn't sound like it. There's too many plot holes for me, plot point, to just go, oh, no, you need to just believe it. Just one person catching it would have been fine. Hell, they wouldn't even had to done much. All they would have to done is put 2 seeds in the ground instead of 1. as both of them as Apple Bloom confesses, and the poor, hapless, doomed person, or maybe 3, go and eat the other 2 flowers. Either way, it would have just been really easy for them to do something to fill up this plot hole, but they didn't. Bad writers. Bad. But anyways, besides that, every scene seems to be working really awesomely with this. I like the idea of ponypox because they're basically just, well, awesome in general. They're like the awesomest disease you can catch ever. You caught this disease. It makes you amazing at everything. Basically, it makes you Batman. Batman! So, I better cure you of your Batmanititis. No, I'm good. I think I'll keep being Batman for a while. Oh, well, then you'll need this ridiculous $1 billion to fund your whole entire Bruce Wayne part of it. Oh, thanks. That's really nice of you. Too bad. We could have cured you, too. So anyways, yes, I say anyways a lot when I'm trying to get myself back on track. Have a fun day of it. Go get yourself a soda, or something harder if you want, and then drink it every time I say anyways. Anyways. Yep, you finish your glass. Anyways. Back on track. So, Apple Bloom has cutie pox and proceeds to do a number of things. Complex equations, which would imply that mathematics in Equestria is way farther along than we think it is. Nobody really thinks about mathematics much, except mathematicians. And some historians who are specifically focusing on a couple of mathematicians. But basically those are just math people who weren't mathy enough to, do math professionally. And also had a like of history. Back to what I was saying. So we also get chess, the game of kings, which I don't really get. I mean, you move a bunch of pawns, but really, if you're that useless as a king, in which case you can't strike back, or even do anything to defend yourself really well besides fleeing, so many steps. Or if anything, the king should be able to move the most because he should be able to flee the best. Chess never makes sense to me as a game of kings. It's a fun game, but I just don't put it in the same class of refinement as those who find enjoyment of chess. No, anyways. Back on topic before you have time to go. But plot point, chess is yada 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 inherently awesome because my ancestor played it for 5,000 years. Under the dark moon sun of ultimate doom and destruction against the Nordic hordes of death. Yeah, don't care. Not much anyways. Yes, take another drink. Anyways. So once again, back to the cutie marks and such. We see a variety of jobs that we either A, knew had to exist, or B, really didn't, need to know. Like weightlifting. Yeah. Or French talking. Which brings up the point that somewhere in Equestria, someone has to talk French. Or someone did talk French at some point in time. Not to say that people actively speak French in Equestria anymore. I mean, we do have Pierre, but really he talks in English most of the time. I think there was like 2 French words. In which case, Equestria may go the Futurama route, wherein most French people are just horrible parodies of the actual French people, as to being either French culture, France itself, or some horrible apocalypse which ended only French people occurred. Wouldn't be surprised. All you'd have to do is taint like one fancy type of cheese that every Frenchman and his mother eats. Oh, le fromage de bois, my favorite cheese. Ah, le gas, le da. And thus ends the entire population of France. And there's also a number of other things and talents and such not that we see Apple Bloom performing, which raise questions. And also, much as in May the Best Pet Win, why is there a lion? No, seriously, why? Moreover, why are there 3? And 3 males at that. There wasn't a single female lion. Seriously, something is up there with the stuff. So, that's pretty much it for this episode. I'm gonna kick it to the wayside because I've spent far too long on it as it is. Kick. Now, on to the next episode, May the Best Pet Win. Which means, as obviously, if you've seen more than one episode of this, you know will lead me to my Scootaloo theory. Scootaloo! Yes, Scootaloo. Once again, if you're asking the question, how can I make up a theory about an episode that has already happened? Moreover, one that I know exactly because you saw me do it last week. Need I remind you the crazy up there? It's somewhere up in the title. Somewhere. Anyways, yes, I'm crazy. Therefore, I don't have to remember things like you people. I can go ahead and just go,
kick these memories to the side until I need them.
Which I will promptly do. Kick. I have kicked them. You may not see it because you can't see my feet. My feet could do whatever they want and you could not see. I laugh maniacally as a German man. It is funny. So, next theory, may the best pet win. It's about Rainbow Dash finding a pet. So obviously, Scootaloo is going to place herself in the running for the best pet, as she tries to outdo all the other pets in what I would only assume is a race to the death. She could even dress herself up as a chicken and try to be Rainbow Dash's pet. But in the end, Rainbow Dash will probably go with something else. You know, like a flying lizard, or any number of cool things. Maybe another dog. Not really sure where they're going to go with it. They're either going to be really funny and put her with something slow like a snail, or really blatant and just give her a rainbow-colored falcon phoenix thing. I don't know. Rainbow Dash with a phoenix would be pretty cool, though. Rainbow Dash with a falcon would be pretty cool. Rainbow Dash with a snail would be sad. But I could see the inherent coolness that the snail would eventually have to prove. And eventually do. Or maybe a rock. Rainbow Dash and her pet rock. Actually, I would love to see that. That would be the funniest episode ever. Just a rock that she randomly picks out. Of course, that would steal light from Rarity and Tom, which would mean Rarity would kill Rainbow Dash in order to maintain her spotlight. as we all know, Rarity loves her attention, as do all people in fashion and socialite worlds. Because if you don't get attention, you die. And if you die in Canada, you die for real. So yeah, that's what I'm hoping from the next episode. Rainbow Dash and either her super cool, awesome mega bird or a rock. Kind of really hoping for the rock right now, because that would make an excellent just thing. Running gag, whatever. Just Rainbow Dash next to a rock, and you constantly have to wonder, is that her rock? Just vague stones placed all over Equestria that somewhat look like it, and you keep going, did Rainbow Dash get rid of him? Did he multiply? Ah, fun. So, those are my crazy theories for now. They may not be crazy, kind of laid back. This has been a slow episode. Thanks for trying to keep up with me. Or, you know, just watching this because you're bored.
It's the bored thing.
Probably. I have no illusions about this, folks. This isn't exactly most people's cup of tea. So, once again, thank you for listening to me rant on about stuff. And say anyways. One more right before you get out. Anyways. So, bye.